Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Loan Officer Breakfast Club. June 3rd, my friends, 2025. June 3rd.
Man.
Hey, only a month away from my birthday, Carl White, and a month and 10 days away from yours. So I know there's a lot of anticipation for both those days amongst everybody here.
Well, everybody.
Everybody.
Wow.
Everybody. Yeah, it's just like, I cannot wait
Christmas
for those days.
Everybody.
Everyone is just going to be so excited. I know.
Yeah.
Hey, big news, though.
What day's your birthday?
July 3rd.
July 3rd, right before day before Independence Day. So I got married on Independence Day. How about that one?
Did you really?
I did.
July 4th, Carl?
I did. And I tell you why I did it.
That's almost unbelievable.
I did it so I would never forget.
That's right. Guys do that.
How did Maria?
Guys do that.
I believe Maria said, "Okay, that's a good idea."
Yeah.
Well, there's fireworks. It's a party.
Worse, the firecracker 400, which is the NASCAR race in Daytona, is every 4th of July.
Oh.
And so come to find out, the lovely Mrs. White didn't think that going to the NASCAR race on our anniversary
was
every year was such a great idea. So
yeah, so that wasn't a good plan.
That backfired.
That one backfired. Yeah, but I never forget.
Yeah, hey, Carl, I don't know if you heard, but it's all the news. There's that, Taylor Swift got, all of her publishing rights to all of her music back. I know personally, I was losing a lot of sleep over that, worrying about it. Were you? I didn't know
it was in jeopardy.
No, I didn't originally own it.
Yeah, that would be the point. Yeah. I mean.
She didn't own her own rights.
It's like all the news. She got her publishing back. She got it's like, okay, great.
Wow.
All right. Well, you know what they say, every few billion helps, right?
Yeah.
Every few billion helps. Okay, so cool. Let's get started here. Let's what do you say we just kind of go around and see how people are doing?
Hey, why don't you drop in the chat where you're coming in from? And for all our first timers, why don't you drop in first time? Welcome to the Breakfast Club. We're glad to have you.
That'd be nice.
Hey, Steve, you might have your computer mic on, brother.
I do.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay,
but it's like,
why does it sound so nasal? Something's going on.
Yeah,
I was gonna wait and let him hear it on the podcast, but I thought, no, I can't do that.
Why did you tell me? What?
I can't do that.
Amish is on his second day with the LOBC, so he came back. I guess that's the point.
Nice.
Well, slow learner.
Mess it up the first time.
Amish is in the boot camp.
Oh, no kidding.
I had a good time with him yesterday. Yeah.
Hey, Amish, we're gonna have a great time today.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good to have you, bud.
Good to see you. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead. Well, yesterday, we were kind of busy.
Can I share a text I just got?
Sure. What? Yeah.
Dude, check this out. Oh my God. Make sure I can do it. Right. Permission. Yes. Okay. So Tammy Saul.
Yep.
Closed 67 loans.
Yep.
Of her own production. This is not like
Same.
Yeah, she didn't have a bunch of loan officers. It's her and loan partner.
This is her.
Yep.
Tammy and team.
Yep. 67 loans. Volume 23,604,000. Check this out. Gross revenue $516,905. So a little over half a million dollars. Approximate expense $200,000. Write small checks to cash big checks.
Right.
And $200,000 might sound like a big check until you're grossing 516. So net profit around $316,905 for the month. And looks like June, she just in June, it's shaping up even better.
That's great, man. That's a business.
$316,000 for the month.
Think about it, and that really just plus where's she at? She's in
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore, yeah,
we're not talking San Diego. I mean, Baltimore's an awesome place, but we're not talking San Diego, or Los Angeles County.
That's what I'm saying.
Or Atlanta.
Yeah.
We're talking, and it's a nice place, but we're talking Baltimore. Like we're talking Cleveland, we're talking Indianapolis, we're talking, Tampa. We're just talking normal place.
Business is out there, man.
$365,000 average loan amount. So we're not talking millions.
Yeah. And business is out there.
It's
It's out there, man. You just got to go get it. We just
Yeah.
got
So those thoughts we have in our head, hey, this market is different. Hey, it's tough out there. Yeah, I guess Tammy didn't get that memo.
Right. She missed it completely.
She missed that. When somebody needs to call her and give her
Tell
a
her.
slap, So.
Tell her she's screwing up.
Right. She's screwing up.
I was sitting behind her at a boot camp last year, Carl, in Florida. She was at one of the boot camps, and I think it was you were up on stage talking about something, and she turns around and goes, okay, well, that's the answer to what I need right now. And like, she just had an epiphany while she was there, and she's just an implementer. She's so determined. You just have to admire her.
Yeah. Imagine it's just magical when you just follow, and she'll be the first to tell you, just follow the plan. Just follow the plan, which I think falls perfectly in today's topic, Frank.
It does, yeah. The other thing about her too is that Tammy, she has a team, right? She has a team, but I tell you what, she holds her team accountable. She does. That she does, right? If you're on her team, you've got your role, and
if you're on her team,
you're going to do it well. Yeah,
you're on the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, you're going to do it well. She's John
Madden,
incredible coach to her team. Yeah, and so and you're going to do it well. Otherwise there'll have to be some adjustments.
And what a wonderful learning experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go work with a Tom Brady or John Madden, man. You're gonna learn some stuff. You're gonna walk off the field limping every now and then, but boy, you're gonna learn how to play the game.
Sure will.
I always think of the example she's setting for her children too.
Oh boy,
yeah. Think about that. Right.
She's raising leaders.
Yeah, she is.
Wealthy heirs.
True. Yeah. All right. Well, look, we're about a little bit in here. I want to get Kevin Gillespie on real quick. Guys, want to give Kevin about maybe 5 or 10 minutes here, just as a reminder of his Builder Investor Bootcamp that he's got coming up on the 10th. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and fill us in on what we've got going on here, and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes of the show today, guys, which is going to be about the art of being able to say no in our business. So stick around, but let's see, Kevin, real quick, what you got, man? And it's on the 10th. Fill us in.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing, guys, if you're not entering the builder or investor part of the business, you're missing out, because it's 35% on average of the market nationally. Now, your market may be a little bit different, but if you have any new homes being built, right, or you have any investors, it's 1 out of 3 loans in the marketplace. So if you're not going after that, you're missing out. So right now, builders have more inventory coming on, which means they need your help. A lot of these builder have relationships with mortgage companies, but they don't know how to use financing to sell homes. Just like a car dealer uses financing to move a car, builders do the same thing. And you see the low rates, and it's 1 out of every 3 homes for sale is a new home. And then investors have bought about, depending on the marketplace, 20 to 30% of the most affordable homes in the nation. And you can see by this slide, if you're looking at it on YouTube, you can see by this slide that it's mainly mom and pop investors, single family, the vast majority of it. It's not apartment complexes. So with that said, typically we sell each of these programs for $997 separately, unless you're in the leadership group like J.R. Boston is, and he gets it as part of his coaching. But anybody who wants to do this, and we do this once or twice a year, but now we're combining them both together. You get both programs for $997, but how to get builder incentives. If you want that builder to give you the incentives, there's some things you can do to do that. And how do you compete with their incentives? What you need to know about the builder business and what's their vernacular, so you can talk to them about their problems, understand how much money they make with their mortgage company if they have a mortgage company, and you'll be very surprised. It's much, much less than what you think, which also creates an opportunity for you to get in. How do you find them? How do you find out where they're sending their business to? So many loan officers think, oh, that lender has them tied up. And then we find out that that lender's only getting 30% of the capture of the business. How do you follow up with them? How do you build a relationship? What are the keys to doing? This business is an annuity. How do you do it? Keep it. keep it coming in. We share over 16 strategies, how you can get agents to send people who are going to buy a builder, a new home, to you first, right? And then how to take it to multiple builders, how to structure low rate commitments. You can compete just like Lennar or some of the other big builders that do the 4.99% or 4.5% or 3.99, depending. You can do that same thing, and there's some keys to knowing how to do it. We show you how to structure them and structure them low cost. We also give you how you can become their construction lender. We'll also give you examples of PowerPoint presentations used with builders that you can take and adapt, put your logo in, put your info, and be ready to present. Same thing on the investors. How dozens of strategies, how to save investors thousands in taxes, how to improve their cash flows, property management ideas, helping first. A lot of people want to, you see all these seminars on how to start getting invested in real estate. You can do that for free. It's a great way to get in front of agents. Multiple loan programs, a lot of investors don't even know are available. And once they find out about them, they love them. How to show investors how to leverage their existing holdings and buy additional properties, 1031 exchanges, cost segregation, capital gains. You'll be able to talk like an expert and really separate yourself, whether it be with a builder or investor. And then we give you a presentation that's pre-made that you can take. So we know it works. We've got a lot of people in our program that have used this information. Couple of examples, Leslie and Leanne here in Austin, they focus on builders that do townhomes and condos, kind of a nice niche, and they get an 80% capture rate and they're closing about 40 units a month. Jim Lewis in the Southeast, his team closes over 80 builder units a month and gets an 82% capture. Rylan, one of our guys out in California, is now become a preferred lender for a 500 unit builder. Adam Dublé, we always say, oh, it's a big builder. You can't get their business. Adam Dublé regularly closes 3 to 4 loans with one of the big national names that you're aware of because he understands the niches their mortgage company can't do. And Mark Helprin in Miami for years has closed over $2 million with Lennar in the state of Florida doing the same thing. Donna Wright closes over 60 builder units a month, and they're bringing on new builders as we speak. On the investor side, Tom Gallagher in Alabama, and Tom will tell you, he was struggling like one loan a month. And he started doing this investor strategy and going after it. He's now regularly closing 8 to 10 loans. Joe Lieberman, one of his new LOs, picked up one investor looking to buy 34 homes. Adam Crossley pointed out to one guy how capital gains work. He was a seller of an apartment complex, a 9-unit, kind of a small one. And he said, do you know you're going to have to pay $300,000 in capital gains? The guy said, I had no idea. He said, go check with your CPA. The guy came back. Adam was able to structure a deal where the seller gave him 100% financing on the property. Paul Dolan's doing real well with midterm rentals. You get a little more revenue, and we show you that difference on midterm rentals. They mainly focus on medical areas where they're doing contracts to nurses. They don't have enough personnel, and so he'll get a 6-month contract, be able to charge a little bit more. He'll tell you he's doing investor loans. Rick Riddle took this information. We shared it with his LOs. 2 of his LOs each picked up investors with 4 more properties. So again, each of these classes sell usually for $997. You're going to get both classes one time, all presentation support materials, calculators, 100% guaranteed. So it's 5 weeks. We start June 10th, and we'll do it the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, the 1st, and the 8th. They're all recorded. They're at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central, 2 Mountain, 1 Pacific, and you can sign up. It's 100% guaranteed. I did that all in one breath, so I'm out of breath now, Frank. So, Carl, I don't know, Steve, anybody, Kristen, got any thoughts? I'd jump in there.
No, I would just say do it. It's amazing. It's incredible. This is a great segment of business that you can tap into if you know what to do. That's the thing. That's the beauty of this class, is it'll guide you on how to find it, how to approach these investors and builders, and how to start getting the business in the door. So definitely a worthwhile investment. BuilderInvestorBundle.com. The link is in the chat. We've also put the slides into the chat, so you've got that, which has the link on it. If you have more questions, you can reach out to Kristen or Kevin at themarketinganimals.com. Good stuff.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, and I love that only one loan paid more than pays for itself. So
big time.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you go into something like that, all you need is one strategy that opens one opportunity that turns into multiple funding. So Kevin, great job, man. You're such a gift in helping us be strategic in a market that really has a lot of opportunity. So would encourage everybody to be a part of it.
Right. Small checks, cash, big check.
That's it. And that is a small check. So
if you're getting value from this already, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps more loan officers find content that actually makes a difference. And hey, if staying ahead of the market and learning what's really working in our industry matters to you, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. We read every comment, so drop your thoughts down below. We'd love to hear from you and know what's working or what you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you here next time. Awesome. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kev.
Appreciate you, brother. Guys, go get that going. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Kevin. Let's move on. Today, we wanted to talk about the art of saying no.
But not to Kevin. But not to Kevin. Let's just clarify that.
Exactly.
Maybe we ought to change it. We'll talk about the art of saying no next week. Today is the power of yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, let's talk about this. The art of saying no. Carl, you had a great question to ask. Yeah.
You said one thing. Let me ask you something. What would your business look like if you only said yes to things that actually make you money, like Kevin's Bootcamp?
There you go.
There you go.
Way to do that.
That's how.
You're so fast.
See how I did that? I rolled that in.
Very good. I saw how you did that. That was very good. Very good. Yeah. So, sometimes though we do need to say no to things, and I think we find as salespeople, especially in this industry, for some reason, anytime something floats across our desk, we feel like, I got to say yes to that. We feel like we might hurt someone's feelings if we say no, or there might be something in that, and so I'll say yes just to explore it and see. When in actuality, it just became a time suck and took us away from.
You know what it is? I was thinking about this last night. About this last night, Frank. You know what it is, man? It's being able, and I think we might have talked about this the other day, because this has really been on my mind here the last few weeks, is being able to read the signal through the noise. Being able to read the signal through the noise. So we all have a lot of noise, and this goes, Frank and I are ham radio operators, but in like when you listen to radio, you have all this noise and all this static, and you develop this ear to be able to hear the person talking or the Morse code coming across the airway with all the static crashes and lightning sometimes we have here during the summertime. And there develops an art where you learn to hear the voice through the noise. And I think what it is finding out what are all the noise that we need to say no to listen for that one signal, like what's the big opportunity, saying yes to the big opportunity and saying no to all the noise. I think that's really what this really comes down to. Is you want to hear the signal through the noise.
Yeah, I got a visual of your radio in your office and how that the frequency peaks, and it's like you put the dial right on it. Hey, and you know what? This is a great thing. I wonder if the reason why you don't hear the signal through the noise is because we don't always know what the signal is.
That's a good one.
Or just have a filter in, like our ham radios use a filter.
Well, but Carl, it goes back to this. How much of the industry would you say, if you went back and said, what was the number one activity that got you your last 5 deals? I don't even know if sometimes we take enough time to stop and say, that was the thing. You know what we tend to dissect is failure. We rarely go back and dissect success.
Wow, interesting.
And we have to take a time to say, man, these last 5 deals, they're the right people, the right clientele. They moved with trust and confidence. There was loyalty. They didn't shop me. And instead of dissecting what I did to get that, we just keep running. And part of the ability to understand what the signal is we got to know what got it in. And I think that's half of it, because you know what? This room is full of doers, people that show up every day. And sometimes doers don't stop long enough to say, okay, what actually moved the needle?
So what you're
Indeed.
saying, like, so what I'm hearing you say there, Steve, is like we have to say yes to opportunity, yes to the hustle, yes to learning the ropes, because that's what got us in the game. And
Yeah.
then it's like learning to say no to distractions, shiny whistles, or low priority tasks that makes us feeling productive but not profitable.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
You know,
you
I
know
was,
what I would write down? The one thing I keep thinking about is this. It's because we talk about activity to get started, but the reality is this. It's about what am I doing that drives results? That's
mm,
it. Not activity, but the result. It's like what are we doing right now that we may be busy, but is there a result attached to it? It kind of goes back to even making calls without an ask. It's busy work without
mm.
really driving into the result. If you're doing activity that doesn't lead to a single result, my question is it needed
Mm,
or is it necessary? Hey, and I'd love this. Drop in the chat. What's something right now that you need to say maybe no to this week? I wonder if somebody's got something on your plate where you're like, that may not move the needle. Maybe it's an event. Carl and Frank and the team, I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago, and she said, I'm doing 2 or 3 networking events a week. And Carl, you know what I asked? And this is what I think the biggest challenge is. I said, how many closings came from those activities in the last 12 months? You know what the answer was?
Tell me. 0.
And I said, well, do you think we need to keep doing it? And you know what she said? I don't
Tell me.
know.
Yeah, I
Mm.
don't know, and that's an honest answer,
It
right?
was
I
an
don't know.
honest
Yeah.
answer. She's
Yeah,
a
it's like
great loan officer.
maybe I
She's
do.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
she's hoping at some point it's going to pay off. And I said,
right.
well, we got 12 months of no closings. Do you think with 8 hours a week for 52 weeks, we could do one other activity that maybe brings
Yeah,
you in more?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we don't think through that. Hey, what are they dropping in the chat? I wonder what that is.
Hey, Steve, on the
Builder DTI
membership
just
side, we have that whole 80/20 exercise for them to do. And that is really
Well, they
powerful.
kind of raised the price. I don't know if they.
well, there you go.
Got it.
Go ahead.
Somebody was getting after it.
Making a deal, baby.
Networking events, Paulina said. That's interesting. Deals where the DTI just isn't working. So Kelly, maybe learning how to say no faster. Man, isn't that a
Yeah.
big one? You try to work and work and work and make a deal.
Ace has got a good one too there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Alina, what's yours? No to realtors who send buyers for pre-approval weekends and nights for an offer is urgent, but don't have loyalty. Hey, Alina, one thing I found, and I think, Carl, we've talked about this. The ones that are urgent over the weekend, got to do it right this minute, usually are the ones that leave you and shop you.
Mhm.
I have found that to be.
Steve,
Yeah.
you said
Or low
something really,
quality.
yeah, you said something really important there. You said the person you were talking with hadn't had any closings in like 12 months or something. And I think when you
From
find
those
yourself,
activities. Yeah.
yeah, well, but even when you find yourself in a spot in your business where maybe you've had a couple months where your closings just aren't where you want them to be, I think that desire to say yes to everything is just even greater.
Good point. Right. Because you're feeling like I got to say yes to things because I need something to come in. But it goes back to what Steve was saying is we have to look at what does work, what does move the needle and focus on those things and do more of that for sure. Saying no sometimes can be difficult, especially when it's referral partners that want us to do things, right? Like outside of just pre-approve my buyer, they want us to do this or want us to do that or help them with this or help them with that. And I think that, sometimes we might feel like, well, if I say no to that, then that's, I've been trying to get some business out of this agent and now I'm going to say no to this thing. And that might've been my opportunity. Right. But in reality, I think, I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on this. I think that in reality, if we can respectfully say no and say, no, I can't do that right now, but what I could do is this or something like that. I think that just should, I would think that they would respect us more. Right.
You know what the
what do you
problem
think,
with that
Carl?
is? Kristen and I think it was you and me, Christian. Didn't we just do? Yeah, we did. We just did a podcast on scarcity. So Kristen, brilliant topic she brought up. And see, the problem with wanting to say yes is like I'm doing so little prospecting that I get so few opportunities that I got to grab this one because it's the only one I got.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're prospecting, you constantly have opportunities coming in. We can get a little more picky. So in other words, if we walk up to an orange tree and there's one shriveled up little orange there, it's got a little green mold on it. Hey, if that's the only one on the tree and we're starving, we're going to grab that orange, right? And we need to, right? But the problem is, if we prospect, if we go and plant some trees, we have just a plethora of oranges to pick from, and then we only pick the juicy, ripe ones. And I think that's I think that the issue is, prospecting really solves like 98% of all problems. Prospecting in team.
Yeah.
Prospecting in team.
It does get down to what Steve brought up too, and you're hitting it, Carl. Here's the deal. We've got a plan, right? We have a plan. We have our daily success plan. We know what we do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? We have to just do the plan. If anything comes inbound that would somehow derail the plan, we have to be able to say no to that because I got a plan, right? And I have to stick to my plan. Hi, thanks for enjoying Loan Officer Breakfast Club here on YouTube. I just wanted to drop in and remind you that if you're a newer loan officer and you're trying to get to that 2 or 3 deals a month, or if you're seasoned and you're trying to get from 50 to 60 or 60 to 80, Mortgage Marketing Animals has you covered. We've got the full gambit from start to finish, top to bottom. Everything you need is at mortgagemarketinganimals.com. There's a reason that mortgagemarketinganimals.com is the #1 mortgage coaching platform in the country. So check it out, mortgagemarketinganimals.com. Hey, Yuande's got her hand up. So does Joanne. Yuande, what you got?
Sorry, I was looking for the mute button. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Yeah. So talking about saying no, definitely something I have problems with because I always want to make everybody happy. But it came to a point that I realized that in the bid to make everybody happy, I was becoming miserable. And I decided to say no. So take an example. I got a call from a realtor on Saturday. I was going to a housewarming party for a client I helped buy a house. And I was like, oh, I need this pre-approval like right now. So I left everything, went home, got the pre-approval together, sent it to him. Yesterday, I called him. What about that client? Do you have an offer? And it was like, oh, the client changed his mind. The client is very, very fickle. That yesterday, after I gave pre-approval on Sunday, she came with another pre-approval letter from another lender. And I told him, I don't want to work with this client again. I don't want a client that's going to be shopping me, wasting my time. And that is an accomplishment for me because before I would have been like, okay, what can I do to win her over? But I'm like, no, I'm not even trying. And I said no.
Great job. That had to feel empowering.
It was. And the realtor respected me for that. He said yes.
Yeah. Great job.
Yeah. And then the realtor might think twice too next time, or make sure that the client understands, hey, we're going to get Yuande to do this thing. You need to work with Yuande.
Yeah.
Joanne, what do you got?
So last year when I joined, I was doing a lot of different continuing ed classes and sponsoring a bunch of things. And after taking everybody's advice, I just said, I'm going to make the calls. I'm going to do what I have to do, follow the DSP, which I did. And I have been successful at it. This year, this same company that asked me to sponsor some continuing ed, I said no. And they kind of, I don't want to say they cornered me because that's kind of corny, but they were like, oh, it's in your town. You're like the mortgage person in the town. We'd hate to ask somebody else. And, so I felt guilty. So I ended up saying yes to it. It just so happened I wasn't in Connecticut at the time. I was in Florida. So I sent my assistant who did a wonderful job, but, cost me $170. Not one thing came of it. And you have to remember that. I mean, I am in a networking group, but that is really one of the only things that I do, because it does bring me business, but we just have to follow the DSP.
Hey, and I love that. One thing that would help everybody, and I know we're at the top of the hour, is I think even today, taking 5 minutes and evaluating over the next 2 to 3 weeks, what are the activities you're doing? And then with an honest assessment, track back how many closings came from that. And, I think part of it is we get to run in, and even with your realtor partners, I was thinking about this earlier, not all realtor partners are created equal. At the end of the month, look at every one of them, how many they referred, how many were good, how many went to closing. And if you've got somebody who just sends junk all the time, you get the opportunity to say, I choose to work with other referral partners. And I think you got to look at your activities, number one, and you got to look at your partners, number two. And then the third thing is prospect, prospect, prospect. Like if you were to say, what's the one activity? Have 13 conversations with 13 asks for the business every single day with warm referrals. And that solves, like Carl was saying, 95% of everybody's problem. When you got more coming in than you can handle, you're good. You just hire another team member and keep running.
Good stuff.
Hey, there's one good question in the chat. Do we have time for one quick question?
Absolutely,
we do, but I don't want to get out of here because we're at the top of the hour without letting people know what's going on at MMA today. So let's get that question. Go to Jen. What we've got cooking today? Today's awesome. It's always awesome. But let's go ahead. What's the question?
All right, Matt wants to know, say you have an awesome referral partner. If you say no to one of their referrals, that's potentially taking away money from them. How do you handle this agent scenario?
Depends on why am I saying no to that person? Am I saying no because I can't do funding? Then I'm actually helping that agent from wasting their time on somebody that's not ready yet. And then, depending upon let's say it's a credit challenged person, I turn it over to my credit repair person. So now they have the opportunity to do it. And if they choose to participate, awesome. If they want to participate in their rescue, awesome. If they don't, I just save my referral partner, a headache. So I really don't know why else I would say no to somebody, unless somebody called up and, started talking disrespectfully to the team. But, that I personally have never had that to actually happen, where somebody calls up the phone and, just starts all this nastiness starts coming out of their mouth. I personally have never had that to happen. So the only time we say no to somebody is they're not ready. And then we alert Realtor Kevin, hey, this person isn't ready yet. And then Kevin appreciates me from saving him some time. So I don't know why else we would say, I'm sure there are other reasons. I just, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Jen, what's cooking today?
So today, on Dialed In with Meg and Jen, 2:00 Eastern, we are talking about how to keep the file. So a lot of what we're talking about today, how to build trust, once you do that pre-approval, they get accepted, how to keep them from shopping you, how to build trust with them. And yeah, it's going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good
Kidnap
one.
their
Great
pet
stuff.
and offer to release it on closing day. That's
Once we find.
Let me add that to the PowerPoint.
Add that to the PowerPoint. Yeah.
Hey, put in the chat if you've got an active purchase transaction in the pipeline right now. Just yes or no. Just say yes. I'm just curious if you got an active purchase transaction right now. Okay.
Let's go.
All these yeses. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. If you got an active purchase transaction, you've got some people to call today.
Yes,
Today is what we call Just Ask Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to make the needle move, my friends? This is probably one of the number one. Joanne would tell you this, the Connecticut Crusher. This is one of the top ways you can get business in the door and get new referral partners, right? You're going to call and make your up. Joanne, tell us. Tell us what we're doing today.
It's the best call of the week, I think, because you're asking for the business. You're updating the listing agents, which they absolutely love. In the last year, year and a half, I can't believe it's that long. How many listing agents I've been able to get as agents just by making these calls and giving them updates. I'm telling you guys, I heard it yesterday. Other loan officers are not doing this. They're not doing the follow-up, the communication. And when we do it, we stand out. Whether we're calling listing agents on offers or giving them updates on Tuesday, calling borrower, co-borrower, listing agent, buyer's agent, insurance, title / paralegal.
It's a wonderful, wonderful day.
And
there's a lot of calls to make.
Ask for the business.
There you go.
Time.
Thank you. Thank you. And somebody said this, David says, hey, do you ask the listing agent for business right away?
Mm-hmm.
How fast do you want business?
Only if you want more loans.
Yeah, it depends on how fast you want it, David. And we're just being sarcastic and tongue in cheek.
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is yes. Yeah. You say, hey, I just want to give you an update, and this is what's going on. They're going, wow, that's really cool. Thanks. Cool. Hey, are you working with any buyers I could help right now? You just ask.
I find that early on is the best time to ask them,
Best
frankly,
time.
before, and not being funny, before something goes sideways, before the appraisal doesn't come in. Like I might get some referrals. So now I've got a second shot at working with that agent in case something goes sideways on the first. And if I hold off until closing, and let's say our dear friend Bruce Simmons, we both have a contract with that listing agent at the same time. I wait till the end. He starts asking on day one. He's got a 4-week head start. giving Bruce a 4-week head start, you're not going to win that one. Right? Bruce is going to kick your butt every time.
It's a great question. And the answer is yes to asking for referrals immediately from everyone, even the buyer, the co-buyer.
So there's a popular script that goes around, hey, if we close this, do I have the right? Well, what if it doesn't close? Or what if Bruce is asking at the same time, right? You know, you can't give, not picking on Bruce, but you can't give him a head start or he'll kick your butt.
That's right.
You know, you want it to at least be an even race.
All right.
And most of these updates evoke a gratitude response from the person that you're calling. So there is no better time to ask for this.
That's good.
Yep.
Good stuff. Of course, you can learn all of this and more by going to dailysuccessplan.com. And Jen, do me a favor, drop Kevin's slides into the chat one more time before we get out of here, because you'll have the link to sign up for Kevin's class as well. So we'll get that dropped in here just in a second. So if you guys didn't download it, you can, and then we will get on out of here. The slides are in the chat, so get that. We'll get on out of here. We'll see you guys here tomorrow on Flux Capacitor Wednesday.
Great topic.
All right. Guys, have a great day.
All right, man. See ya.
Y'all have a great day. We'll see you. Adios, my friends. Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everybody.